Well, there are some posts that trouble me and anger me more than others. And I've always tried to be truthful, and I get quite angry when people lie to me. And when by lying, I don't mean just making a mistake and quoting a scripture or misunderstanding a scripture but by blatantly lying. And I hope it's more righteous indignation than lying. And of course, we have a number of people on social media. Particularly, there is one group in particular whose only reason for existence is to attack Christianity. The religion is nothing more than a polemic against Christianity. And as we can see from our friend Sylvester, I'm disappointed, Sylvester, when a liar, a liar's pants don't catch on fire. I'm disappointed too, but they do so to their own destruction. As I've said earlier, Islam is nothing more than a polemic against Christianity, and this is one of the posts that I saw this morning. This is usually a Facebook fare. I do wish, with all the fact-checking that Facebook does, that they would actually fact-check this one. And as you can see, is that this is absolute proof, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Jesus is not God. Oh my, man, I'm absolutely convinced. But let's see. The context basically here is that Peter and John are going to the temple. It is shortly after Pentecost, probably a couple of weeks after Pentecost, and within a couple, within a couple of months of the crucifixion of Jesus. And so they come across this man whom is begging outside the temple. The man wants money. Peter and John do go a little bit better. They actually heal him. And the man comes walking and leaping, praising God into the temple. And so we'll pick up on verse chapter 3 and just read this together, shall we? And when Peter saw it, he addressed the people, "Men of Israel, why do you wonder at this? Or why do you stare at us as though it is by our own piety that we made this man walk?" And of course, verse 13, right? "The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of our fathers, raised his servant." Oh my, Jesus isn't God. Isn't that? I'm absolutely convinced. His servant Jesus. Now the quote stops here. So I'm just going to make a little detour here. And I do this basically to warn individuals who use this tactic that this one person used, and also this individual. I warn everyone who hears the words of this prophecy of this book, if anyone adds to them, God will add to them the plagues described in this book. And if anyone takes away from the words of this book of this prophecy, God will take away his share from the tree of life and the holy city, which are described in this book. Now, I understand the context is speaking about the last book of the Bible, the book of Revelation. However, I do think that we can apply the principle that if you knowingly distort the scriptures, this is what is going to happen to you. So let's look at, excuse me, all of verse 13. The God of the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, our fathers, glorified his servant Jesus, whom you delivered over and denied in the presence of Pilate when he had decided to release him. So Peter is reminding them that these people had basically disowned the Holy One, the servant, and we're going to talk about the word servant in a moment, and delivered him over to Pilate. Seems like a pretty good refutation of Islam right there when my Muslim friends tell me that Jesus wasn't crucified. So we need to address that. I think it's abhorrent that anyone who is going to quote Acts 3:13 only quotes half a verse. And of course you see this all the time. This is a play. They also love quoting the passage where Jesus falls on his face and prays, Jesus is a Muslim, but they don't quote the rest of the verse where it says when Jesus addresses God as his Father. It's the same thing. Now look at the word servant here. The word there is the Greek word pais, and it's not doulos, meaning slave, but pais, and can be translated as a child, a boy or a youth, but someone very special in the household. And it's very interesting to note that when you look at the servant passages in Isaiah 52 and 53, the word in the Septuagint, it's the same Greek word as pais. Now let's go on with this passage in Acts, shall we? But you denied the Holy Righteous One. Jesus is called the Holy Righteous One. You asked for a murderer to be granted to you, and you killed. Oh my, Jesus was killed. And Muslims keep telling me that Jesus wasn't crucified, whom God raised from the dead. Muslims keep telling me that Jesus was not raised from the dead. And so what we have here is just a total disregard for any truthfulness on the individual who posted this. I doubt that individuals who post these verses, they've certainly never read the book of Acts or read any of the Gospels, and I doubt very much whether they even have a Bible. What they do is they just cut and paste with a total disregard for the truth, and that's what I find the most troubling. So if we want to take a look at this, then what do we do? Well, that Islam is refuted in the very passage that he cited. He refutes Islam. Jesus is the Holy and Righteous One. Jesus was killed. Jesus was the author of life, and Jesus was raised from the dead. My friends, I think it's time that we had a talk. As I said at the beginning, I'm disturbed by the lies that certain groups of certain individuals and a certain religious group or religious groups, they go out of their way to in promoting their own agenda. They go out of their way and lie, and you're doing it to your own destruction. You're absolutely doing it to your own destruction. And any system that has to defend itself by lying is a system that's really not worthy of even considering. If you want me to embrace Islam, then you're going to have to change your approach. You have to stop this absolute distortion of the scriptures and allow the scriptures to speak for itself. So when we read Acts chapter 3, as I've said, and you read especially the sermons of Peter, not mentioning Paul here, the sermons of Peter, you have to come to the conclusion this is not the same message that was preached by Muhammad. In fact, it was contrary to it, because Peter preached the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ and declared that there was no name given among men whereby we must be saved. And so I ask you to consider my words. I ask you to consider, but above all, that you consider the words of what the Bible actually has to say about Jesus. May God bless. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.